So I'm being attacked by this thug here. Who wins this confrontation? Jab, cross, low kick, tackle, there, elbow smash. Who won? She did. This needleless syringe for today's demonstration ended up in my neck. You pretty much have to assume that most of the people you're going to fight are armed. Now in the modern day and age, most of the time you're not going to be defending yourself against housewives. You're going to be defending yourself against bad guys. And you have to assume that most bad guys are going to be armed. Either with something like this, or a syringe, or something sharp. Just because it's cheap. It's really cheap to buy a small knife, to steal a knife, and to carry it. And if you're a homeless guy living on the street, you need some way to take care of yourself. You need some way to protect your shopping cart. If you had a gun, you probably would sell it for drugs, but a knife, you might keep around. If you're some tough guy walking the streets, you might well be carrying a knife. There are many ways. Even a knife this big can be concealed. Now this is a pretty obvious one. Hopefully some guy coming out like this would trigger some alarm bells. You can't see his hands. You don't know what he's got. Maybe you miss the pommel here in the heat of the moment. And even if the guy's not carrying it in his hand, there are multiple ways that a person can carry a concealed knife on their pocket. The most common is carrying a folder. Something like this. This can totally ruin your day and ruin the day of your entire family once you're dead. There are back carries. That is a very common one. Then there are chain carries here around the neck. This looks like a little knife. It can go more than deep enough to sever some major arteries in your body. And again, ruin your whole day and ruin the day of your family. So you have to assume that anyone you're about to get in a fight with, at the very least, has a knife. We'll talk about guns another day, but knives are so incredibly common, or sharp objects are so incredibly common that you have to factor them in. Let's bring Eva in again, and we'll talk about what you can do to keep yourself safe. So do this experiment the next time you're walking down the street or you're in a crowd. See if you can see both of people's hands and the contents of both people's hands. How many of Eva's hands can you see right now? The answer from that camera angle is 1. You can see this. This other one is down behind the leg. So this is a very common concealment, right? It's just behind the thigh. You don't know what's in that hand. If you can't see both hands, you got to assume that there's something in it. The under the arm, another very common carry, although this is more aggressive. This is already sending a bit of a message. But you know, if she's here and she's engaging somebody, you don't know that there's a knife under there. More problematically is if you can see both hands, but it's actually palmed, as the point is up. Now you can see both hands, but it wouldn't take her very long to deploy the knife that she does have so eagerly. It wouldn't take her very long to deploy the knife that is point up here into some position to ruin my whole day and stab me in the neck. So the drill when you're walking down the street is just to see who's walking with their hands in their pocket. Because that hand in the pocket, you don't know, it's going to come out with a phone, it's going to come out with a pocket of change, it's going to come out with a knife. You don't know. If you can't see somebody's hands, they're walking around like this. Just sensitize yourself to that. The bottom line is, if she and I are in an argument, that's my parking space. I'm way too close. Maybe she's feeling threatened by me. If I can't see what's in both of her hands, so I should be scanning her face, I should also be scanning her hands. Right now, the way she's turned, I can't really see her right hand. I immediately put more distance between us. The police talk about having 20 to 25 feet of distance between you and a potential knife-armed attacker. That's giving them time to draw their weapon and shoot you. Now, if every time I can't see somebody's hands, I'm backpedaling to 25 feet away, I'm going to be a weirdo, I'm going to be shunned in society. But I sure as hell shouldn't be within stabbing distance here if I can't see the hands. So I can't see the hands, this is the range where we're engaging at. If she takes a step towards me, if that knife comes out, I can run. Bottom line is, if they lunge towards you, you should run, and you need enough distance. If I'm this close, if I'm within touching distance, and she's within stabbing distance, I can't put the Nike defense to work. I've got to be incredibly fast, and we don't want to rely on being incredibly fast. So, bottom line is, scan face and hands all the time. You're going to be going, essentially, face, hand, hand, face, hand. This is in a stressful situation, but you can train this around the office cooler, right? The office water cooler, with your coworkers. They're unlikely to stab you, except if you really get in a big argument. But you can get into this habit of face, hand, hand. Oh, all of a sudden, her hand drifted behind her body. This should be a warning sign to me, and I'm going to increase the distance. So, scan the hands, scan the face, assume people are armed at all times, and you'll be a lot safer.